Okay, I think I'm live. I'm live. All right. Um, so I wanted to hop on while it's still hot and trending. But we just had witness a moment in NBA history. If you've been following my channel, you know that I have been doing a series here. I've been doing a series on each NBA franchise and their all-time greatest teams, and I have done, I believe on my channel, the last one to be released was the Los Angeles Lakers all-time team. And so yesterday, I usually film these two at a time and I release them after filming them for a while. But yesterday I filmed my all-time teams for the Memphis Grizzlies and the Miami Heat. And with those Memphis Grizzlies and Miami Heat, I was putting my all-time starting lineup, my bench, and all that. I didn't know, of course, at the time that we were about to witness like an all-time moment in NBA history with Bam Adebayo. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing Adebayo. Bam Adebayo. Trying to pronounce his name correctly here. But yeah, all-time team for the Miami Heat. And of course, last night, probably as I was filming that video, he of course had an all-time great performance with 83 points. Now, he was already on my list, and sneak preview, I guess, here. He was already on my list of all-time players for the Miami Heat. Of course, one game does not make you an all-time great player, but it was definitely a tremendous accomplishment. And it's definitely, I went back and looked at some of the statistics, and I can definitely see a possibility for Bam moving up into my all-time Heat starting lineup. It's going to be difficult. This is a team that has won 3 NBA championships. They've been to the finals, I think I want to say at least 7 times. They've been to the NBA finals. I believe around 7 times. So as one of the relatively younger teams in the league, they've been very successful for the Miami Heat. And yeah, I just want to say congratulations to Bam. A great performance. I went back after I heard about the game. I went back and I watched the highlights, and you had Bam scoring, I believe it was 30 or 31 in the first quarter. I think he surpassed his previous high-scoring record, his previous record that he had, I believe was like 40 or 41, so he had passed that by halftime. I think he had 43 points at halftime. So he did score considerably less points in the second quarter than in the first quarter. But on the third quarter, he went off again. I think by the end of the third, he already had the all-time record for most points scored by a player for the Miami Heat. And then in the fourth quarter, he set the record for second highest scoring NBA game of all time. He He tied Kobe's uh, second best at the free throw line. He hit his 81st point. He got fouled again and made both free throws, so he went up to 83. And then after that, they took a timeout and took him out of the game. He got a standing ovation from the crowd. Um, so it's one of those things where uh, he just had one of the all-time great NBA performances. Um, he I'm sure people are going to pick it apart. They're going to find flaws with it. Um, people are going to question, should they have run up the score since Miami was in the lead basically the entire game. I think the first quarter was somewhat competitive, but the second and third quarters, Miami just took this huge lead. Um, and in the fourth quarter, I don't think the game was ever really in question that much. Of course, you could compare that to Kobe Bryant, his 81-point game, or Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game, and find the statistics and go back and look. Did they run up the score? Um, so there's questions around that. Um, I'm sure people will criticize, there's the conspiracy theorists that believe that Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game never actually happened, that it was all some grand conspiracy. Um, I don't believe that. I believe that the Wilt Chamberlain 100-point game did actually happen, that it wasn't just something that they made up as a publicity stunt or something like that. Something to keep in mind is that Chamberlain was the only player to ever cross the 70-point threshold multiple times. Other players have done it, but they've had like one game where they got really hot and scored 70 points. But Wilt Chamberlain did it, I believe, 6 times, and no other player has done it even twice. So with that, I can believe that one night he just got really hot and went off, and then there is radio broadcasts of the game, even though there's no video footage. And once the announcers and the scorekeepers and everyone realized that Wilt Chamberlain was hot and he had scored a lot of points that night, they started announcing his points total in like the live audience. Um, it was actually a relatively small arena that they were playing in. The NBA, in order to reach out in the 1961/62 season, in order to reach out to more areas, they were experimenting with sending their teams to smaller arenas other than the normal ones that they played in. So some of the home games for the Philadelphia Warriors that season were filmed outside of their usual arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Instead, they played in other smaller towns in Pennsylvania. And the game where Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 happened to be in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And like I said, it was broadcast over the radio, even though there's no video footage. But that wasn't unusual for games at the time. But yeah, the 76ers were playing a home game in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And like I said, I think other teams did that as well. They played outside of their usual arenas for home games that year in their marketplaces. And it was an effort by the NBA to try to expand their fan base beyond just people who lived in the big cities where the teams were located. But I totally believe that Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game was real. Like I said, he's the only player to ever score 70-plus points multiple times during his career, so I can believe he went off one night and made that 100-point game. Um, yeah, I just don't believe the conspiracy theories that say it was all just the NBA trying to build hype. Um, but anyway, we have Kobe Bryant's 81-point game, and now uh, Bam Adebayo, Bam Adebayo scored 83. I think people are going to be comparing the two. People are going to be breaking it down. Um, you know, people can analyze for themselves the Kobe Bryant game and the Bam game, Kobe and Bam, and decide for themselves that they think one player or the other or both stat padded, or that neither of them were stat padding and they deserved everything they got. Whatever you want to believe on that, I just think that it's a cool thing that happened. It's a moment that NBA fans are always going to remember. I would like to see a big playoff run this year by the Miami Heat. If they can do that, um, it definitely would increase a big playoff run, maybe a trip to the finals or even a championship. Definitely would increase the chances that I myself personally might move Bam up into the starting lineup for my all-time Miami Heat team. Um, if they could make another finals appearance or win a championship, it would definitely help his case for being one of the, that he deserves a spot in the starting lineup for the all-time Miami Heat. To me, team success is very important in that equation. It's not the only thing that matters. Obviously, you have to be a great individual player, but team success, because we're talking about the all time teams for a different franchise. And of course, the goal of any franchise is to win. The ultimate winning is a championship. So, yeah, I tend to value the players that won championships, made finals appearances, and had a lot of team success, and were the leaders of teams that during periods of time when the team was successful. Now, that doesn't mean that a player who maybe had less team success because he was a great individual player but didn't have a lot of help can't make some of my all-time team list. It's all relative to the circumstances of the history of the franchise, um, and so on. So, anyway, just some of my thoughts on Bam Adebayo winning or becoming number 2 all time for most points scored by a single player during a single game. An incredible performance by him, and I'll be really interested to follow his career more closely as it continues and see how the Miami Heat do this season. All right, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things help out my channel. Tell me in the comment section if you think Bam should be on the starting lineup for the all-time Miami Heat, where you would rank him among the greatest players in Miami Heat history. And yeah, how do you view this accomplishment? Do you think this is going to be something overrated, or do you think he deserves this accolade to be recognized? How do you think the two games between Kobe and Bam, uh, compare to each other? Do you think Kobe's was still greater for whatever reason? Um, anyway, give me your thoughts on that. What do you think about the Wilt Chamberlain 100-point game? Are you one of those people who believe that it didn't actually happen, um, or whatever? Just give me all your thoughts, and this should be like a fun, uh, fun exercise and a fun just way of looking at NBA history being made last night. Yeah, but what do you think? We could have a discussion about three times now in NBA history that a player has surpassed the 80-point mark. All right, everybody. Thanks for checking out this video. Have a great day, everybody. Dragonfire out.